What's going on YouTube? Snakebite here, and today we're going to be talking about Halo Infinite. A pretty typical topic on this channel. Basically, on October 28th, some info came out about Chris Lee, who had left the project being Halo Infinite. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. I'm going to bring up my tweet, what I think about Infinite's launch, and then what other people are kind of saying to me. So no gameplay, nothing like that for this video, just strictly talking about Halo Infinite. Don't want to make it take too long, but I want to give my 2 cents and, of course, hear yours or see yours. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. All right, so basically, Jason, don't know how to pronounce the last name, sorry, Bloomberg Scoop, Halo Infinite director and longtime 343 executive Chris Lee has left the project. This is the second Halo Infinite director to depart in 2 years, and another sign of the game's turbulent development. Okay, now, first comment, Moses, we are fucked. Now, I'm going to go back to my tweet. So, first off, obviously, people leaving the project, never a good thing. Leaving the project after it's delayed, even more concerning, right? And I'm sure you guys would all kind of agree with that. I'll kind of reference my tweet, and then I'll go into some of the replies that I got that were pretty interesting. I want to talk, and then I'll talk about like my theory of the delay, and then we'll kind of see. We'll talk about it a little bit. So I said, not sure what this means. Still really don't, but still scary news for Halo Infinite. Just another example of how 343 need to be transparent about what is actually happening so Halo fans can be ready. Would love to see an article actually posted by Halo instead of other people. Now, I still think this is very true. Like, I would have loved to have seen some kind of article or some kind of like blog post posted by 343 about Chris Lee leaving the project and explaining it, and then maybe going into, you know, so many people are so hopeful for just any kind of Halo Infinite content, maybe just go into what it means and what it could mean, etc., right? Now, so the one thing that's interesting, and I still kind of stick by that, I still stick that I would have loved to have seen 343 come out and release this information themselves. Full transparency, I don't know what Chris Lee left for. Someone told me he went to go work at Bungie. I don't know. Okay, so I'm not the best when it comes to this stuff. I'm just trying to give some information, and then try to give some information and draw a conclusion, as well as help other people do it / get the opinion of others as well. Okay. So, Zalted, shout out to you, because I actually do remember this, and I remember this being a thing back in July. So, Zalted replied to me and said, they did, though. When Joe Staten, hopefully I said that right, sorry if I mispronounced it, came onto the project, he was effectively replacing Chris Lee's role. It is just taking till now for Chris to step down. This entire process started weeks and weeks ago. People are overreacting. I obviously said, oh, very interesting. It's tough not knowing the development side when articles like this are posted, because it's true. Like, you know, you're so hopeful for Halo Infinite, and then you just see someone leaves the project, and you're like, oh, holy shit, we're doomed. I'm downloading Call of Duty right now. You know, I don't know, right? That's basically like where the mindset kind of goes, unfortunately, because the reality of it is we don't know when Halo Infinite is coming out. Now, so this is what Zalted said. Just a couple more comments on it. He said it didn't help. They didn't try to put people didn't put those things together, basically. But it's still not pretty. And then he said the Halo is doomed. It gets the clicks though, right? Obviously, the only reason why I reference this tweet, I wouldn't really reference Twitter of people that I can't fact check, but I do remember this kind of being a thing, and I received quite a few people saying the same exact thing of basically Chris Lee was already replaced, and he just essentially stepped down. Now I'm going to talk about my theory of the release, and then we'll kind of, I don't know, chalk it up and see what ends up happening, and / hopefully you guys will comment your theories as well. Okay, now, so my theory for when Halo Infinite is probably intended to release, right? As soon as the delay happened, people immediately went to, it's going to be a year, it's going to be a year, oh my God. And understandably so, because you're excited for the game, and it's not far off to think that it could be a year delay. Now, I personally, and I think I've covered this in other videos, I personally think we're going to see a spring-ish release. The reason being on why I think that is because the game was so close to launch, and I could be very, very far off when I say this. The game was so close to launch that for it to immediately be delayed a year just doesn't seem Doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't make full sense yet. Now, with stuff like this, maybe it's more likely. I don't know. With like people leaving the studio, maybe it's more likely. But you know, we were meant to get a holiday 2020 release. Let's say that's November to December. I think there was actually a confirmed release date. I think it was in November. I could be wrong. You guys can let me know in the comments section. So my first instinct is there's no way that the first thing that's going to happen is the game is going to be delayed a year. Now I will say this, and I've said it again in other videos. I think that the reason why that 343 and Microsoft do not announce and do not make the date clear is so that if they continue to run into issues on the developmental side of the game, they can delay it further without people knowing. Now that's my theory. I think that so my theory, I think it's going to be a spring release. I think it's going to be a spring-ish release. I don't know. And basically the release date is pending because if they run into any issues, they can delay it further than spring without causing any issues amongst people and making things kind of rougher than they are. Now, the one thing that we did talk about as well on the Royal 2 podcast, if you guys watch that, it's called the Day Ones podcast he and I have been recording, is that a Infinite multiplayer reveal might happen in November. There's a big rumor going around. I covered that both in a video and in the podcast. You can check those two out. Now, this tweet kind of makes me feel like it's not going to happen. You know, it's meant to be like November 9th, I think, for this Xbox launch celebration on November 10th. I think I just said the 9th when literally the date's right there, but we won't talk about that. And they got a reply back. Someone said, is this when the Halo Infinite multiplayer reveal is going to happen? And he got a reply back saying, this is a fun launch celebration stream, not a place for news or press releases. Now, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure who this person is. I just know that they clearly do, I think, work in Halo, focusing on 23 creative studio teams at Xbox across Xbox Game Studios. And I'll be honest, I know this is really popular, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because I don't know how. I know it's really popular. I'm sorry. Always excited for the future, though. So that's good. So basically the question being, is Halo Infinite going to be delayed? We don't know. We still don't know. The plus side of what I've seen is that Chris Lee leaving the studio hopefully will have no impact on it. I don't know. I don't know a lot about the development side, which I've been kind of openly honest about. So if you guys have any comments or questions, or maybe you can explain things better to me, feel free to leave it in the comment section. What I've heard a lot about Chris Lee, especially too, is that he works more on the campaign side, and we have someone different working on the multiplayer side. So the theory of the games could release in different parts could also be a factor as well, because then maybe the multiplayer comes out first and we already kind of knew that, you know what I mean? So I don't know, but nonetheless, that's my theory. I wanted to cover this. I wanted to keep people updated. You know, I think that even though apparently he had already been replaced from his role and it just took him now to step down, I still think it's probably a pretty big deal overall. I mean, you know, the game's 6 years into development, and having people leave your project is probably not a good thing. But nonetheless, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all the love as always. I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you're enjoying the content we're putting out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.